Hey everyone, it's Mike from Big Byte, and today we're going to be making a video on making a video. Whoa! Our video on how to mimic MKBHD's smooth zoom in DaVinci Resolve Part 2 received a comment from Juan Muhammad Amjad saying, "I need more tutorial." So here we are. You'll be seeing my process from start to finish in making a video in a day. That's right, we are writing a script, filming, and editing all in just a few hours. In addition to that, I'm barely going to be using any equipment. I'll be using my 3-year-old iPhone, the iPhone XS, an Amazon Basics lightweight tripod, and a lapel microphone. I'm doing this to show you that you do not need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to make quality content. My process could really be summarized in 5 steps. The first step is to get an idea. Honestly, this is probably your most difficult task. If you are already running a YouTube channel, I recommend looking at the comments for inspiration on content. That's exactly what I did for this video. Another great option that I recommend all channels doing as they grow is creating audience personas. You're essentially writing down all the demographic information for who your audience is. Are they male? Are they female? What is their age, occupation, etc.? And you do all this so that you could put yourself in their shoes so you could imagine what they are concerned about. And that will help give you topics to create content. Step 2 is to create a script or outline. I know this kind of feels like you're writing an essay, and I know that's not something that I particularly enjoy, but this is a critical part in the process. This will help you organize your thoughts so that you could deliver a clear and concise message to your audience. Step 3 is to plan your B-roll shots. B-roll is very important for keeping your audience engaged and to keep things visually interesting. Your B-roll shots should be relevant to the content you're making. So I am making a video on making videos now. So some of the B-roll that you'll be seeing is, well, me filming this video. You'll start to see some of my setup that I have before I film. And also I'll be sharing my screen from time to time. Unless it's a screen capture, I recommend filming at a higher frame rate for your B-roll, at least 60 frames per second. You do this so that if you have to slow down your footage in your editing software, it will still be smooth. So typically I'm filming this right now at 24 frames per second, but when I film B-roll, I will jump it up to 60 frames per second. Step 4 is to film. Before you film, you need to figure out, well, where you're gonna film. I recommend filming in at least 2 locations because this helps provide some visual variety and will also keep your audience a little bit more interested in your content. Now, this doesn't have to be anywhere fancy. Right now we're at my kitchen table and later we'll be in my office at my desk. When you film, there are a few things that you want to look at. 1 is camera position, making sure you have a decent camera angle. 2 is audio. I recommend using a lapel microphone because it helps isolate your audio here. So you may not actually be able to hear the music that my fiance is listening to upstairs right now. Plus, a lapel microphone sounds way better than your default phone speaker. And by speaker, I mean microphone, but shh, it's fine. Another visual component that you'll have to look out for is lighting. Part of this video is proving that you do not need to have a lot of equipment to film quality content, so I'm actually not using any lighting besides natural sunlight. And step 5 is to edit. And my recommendation here is to put your personality into it and also add some audio components to it. Whenever you have anything sliding out from the screen, you could add some type of audio component like a whoosh or something like that. That will help increase the quality of your content. Okay, so we have reviewed the process and the equipment we will be using, written our scripts, determined where we will be filming, planned our B-roll, and have even started filming. I'm gonna stop filming now, probably eat and shower, then film some B-roll and start editing what I have. Now, because I will be filming me editing what I have already recorded, you will not see the full edit. However, you will see most of the tips and tricks that I use to make my videos. So now we're in our office. I got some food, took a shower, nice and clean, ready for the day. And I think I'm ready for some editing. So the only thing that you have missed is I took my cell phone and set it to 4K at 60 frames a second, pressed record, and panned at my kitchen table to show you how my setup was for the introduction. Here, I'm just wearing the lapel microphone. I have the tripod in front of me with my cell phone there. So that is the only equipment that I'm using to film this, besides my computer and editing software. So I'm using DaVinci Resolve, which, as I mentioned before, works on both Mac OS and on Windows. And so I'm going to show you how I'm setting up the project and edit the introduction. So now that I'm in DaVinci Resolve, I have just started a new project, and this is called Making a Video. So the first thing that I need to do is bring in all of my files into the media pool. So since I am recording just a window, you may not see this, but I am in my File Explorer, and I'm simply just going to click and drag everything into DaVinci Resolve. So I brought in all of my assets here, and now I'm actually going to start to organize them. So I'm going to do this by creating a bin. So I'm going to right click in the media pool and click on new bin, and that's essentially just going to give me a new folder that I can put things into. So I like to separate this out by footage, so I'm going to create an A-roll folder and a B-roll folder. And I have 2 takes from my A-roll. For my B-roll, I'm going to take the slow pan footage of the setup from downstairs for me, drag that into the B-roll, and then the rest of my B-roll is actually just images. So I'm going to grab all of these. And then I do have an image of the script as well, so I'm going to drag all of those into my B-roll footage. So now my media pool is separated by A-roll and B-roll. We are on the cut workflow right now. So I'm gonna bring in my A-roll and drag this onto my timeline. Now I actually prefer to edit everything on the edit tab, including the cuts. So I will navigate to the edit tab, and I'm going to expand the audio 1 channel so that I could also see the sound waves. I like being able to see the sound waves because that will give me a visual indication of when I'm not talking, and that could typically help me cutting out the empty space so I could combine the clips easier. So from here, I'm actually going to click on this detail zoom, which is gonna zoom in on my timeline, and you could adjust this by clicking the plus and minus over here. And now on this time bar here, I could just go ahead and scrub. So now I can see everything and begin my edit process. So when do I want everything to begin? Well, maybe starting off right here. So I could click on this blade tool or blade edit mode. So you could also just do a keyboard shortcut of B, and that'll bring up this blade tool where you are able to cut. So I just made a cut on this line. So now I could highlight by just clicking and dragging on both of these. And I'm gonna hold Shift, left bracket, and backspace. That will actually delete that section and drag the remaining footage to seal the gap. So now if I click play, I can see it'll start off with me just drinking some coffee. And then just getting right into it. So I can see this pause here, and that's where I'm gonna wanna clip. So now I have my A-roll edited, and the one thing that I'm mainly looking for is the audio here, right? I want it so that the audio is delivering my message. So imagine if you're just listening to a podcast or something, you want to have it so that if you could just listen to the audio, you understand the message. Now, there are going to be times, especially if you're doing a tutorial, where you're looking to show someone something, and so that visual component is very critical. However, when I'm doing my initial edit, I'm really looking for that story, and that is really told through the dialogue in a video like this. So now that I have my A-roll edited and I like the flow of the story, I like the message that's being said, this is where we get to jump in and start to spice things up a little bit. So some things that we're gonna be adding. We're gonna be adding an animated text title. We're gonna be adding a video clip from YouTube in there as well. Then we're going to add some supporting B-roll footage to really help drive our points and to inform the audience even more. Okay, so in this beginning, it's gonna be me drinking some coffee, setting it down. You hear the coffee mug hitting the glass. I don't want that there, so I'm gonna show you how to silence that. And then we have the introduction, and if you've seen a Big Byte video before, we'll have an animated pop-up text that shows who is in the video, and also to let you know that this is from Big Byte. So what I'm going to do here is come down and actually select this little bar and drag this all the way down. So this is typically going to be used to fade audio. So this will keep the volume levels up and increase it as we go. But if we play here, you'll still hear the sound. Hey, and we don't want that. And I can fix that by clicking on this middle point and dragging it down to here. So this is going to adjust the curve. And so now you should not hear the coffee mug hitting the table. Hey everyone, it's boom. That's exactly what we're looking for. So now, right as I start to talk is typically when I will pop up that animation. So we're going to go to the effects library. So for DaVinci Resolve, we at Big Byte currently are using something super clean and simple, which is the clean and simple heading lower third. So I'm gonna grab this animation and just drag this here. And if I
Hey everyone, it's Mike from Big Byte, and today we're gonna be...
You can see it pop up. This is the position that we typically use, and this is the position that I like, so I'm not gonna change it.
On making a video.
And I like the length. The length to me is, you know, big enough or long enough so that you could easily read it and you're not rushing or anything like that. I'm gonna select this Fusion title that I dragged on here, and I'm gonna go up into the inspector pane, and the small text, I'm gonna change this to my name, which is Mike, and then I'm gonna scroll down, and for the big text, Big Byte. Boom, there you go. So now we have this animation where we kick it off.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from Big Byte, and today we're gonna be making a video on making a video.
How good does that look? Fantastic. So the next part is, if I look at my script, is going to be having a cut of Keanu Reeves going, whoa. So we have to find that. So I'm gonna go on YouTube and use OBS to record that clip, and then we'll go ahead and insert that. So I'm going to come over to the cut workflow, find where I want it to cut, which is right here. I'm gonna select the clip, which is whoa. And then I'm going to come down and select Smart Insert. And so this will input the clip exactly where I want it to be. Now I'm gonna go back to the edit workflow, and since this has the recording of some other stuff, I am going to clean this up. So I'm gonna grab the blade tool, find right where I want it to be, which is gonna be right here. Then clip that. And right where that ends, I'm gonna clip this. And so now it's nice and lean. So now when we watch this, but it's not quite there yet because we still see the title in the top right. So I'm going to select A on my keyboard or come over here to selection mode because I do not want to be clipping anything. And I'll select this clip. And once you see the preview on here, make sure you have this clip selected. So it's highlighted in red. Then I'm going to come into zoom and just zoom in and adjust the position so that it fills up the screen.
Making a video.
Awesome. And then on top of that, our audio levels for this clip are not quite where the rest of the footage is. And you could tell by looking at the sound waves. So you'll see there's a lot more peaks on the A-roll than on my, recording. So what I'm gonna do is hover my mouse right over the audio one, and you'll see this little faint white line. And when you hover your mouse over there, you'll see the up and down arrows. I'm just gonna click on that and start to increase this until the sound waves
start to just kind of appear around where the rest of the audio is. So now when I play this,
Our video on
the audio levels are much more in sync with everything else. Another good way to spice up the video a little bit is to add some visuals. So I talk about how someone had commented on a video. So I think it'll be good to have some supporting evidence. So what I'm actually going to do is if we go back here and play my clip, you will see
HD's smooth zoom in DaVinci Resolve Part 2.
Right there, I switch over and start reading off my laptop rather than just speaking directly into the camera. So a good way to cover up this mistake and look a lot more professional is if I display the comment that I'm talking about while I am reading this. That way that the entire time I'm on camera, I'm engaging the audience. I'm making eye contact with the camera. So to do this, again, I'm going to use OBS and go to YouTube, find the video in question. So right here, when I start talking about the YouTube comment, I think it'll be good to cover up the visual component with actually displaying the comment that I am reading. So I do have a clip here. So I'm going to drag this in, and when I drag this on, what I'm looking for is that I'm not replacing the audio on channel 1. So if I'm in video 2 right now, you will see that that will override the audio, which is what I do not want. So I'm going to drag this to video 3, and this will put the audio attached to the video on audio 2. Now the thing is, I actually don't need any audio for this supporting B-roll, and I don't want it to interfere with what I'm saying or the background music that I'm planning on adding later. So what I'm going to do is select this clip, and you'll see that it highlights both the audio and video. I will right click and then unlink the clips. So I'll click on link clips right here, and now they are disconnected. So now if I click anywhere else and then click back on this video clip, you'll notice that the audio clip is no longer highlighted. So this means that I could click on this and delete that audio and drag this down to video 2, and life is good. Okay, so I'm gonna want to add that smooth zoom here. So I'm gonna have it after I read the comment. So be right here. So I'm gonna mark the zoom and the position, and I'm gonna have it after I say so.
So
I'll leave it here just so it'll be nice and zoomed in when I do my arm movements. And I'll go ahead and mark both of these keyframes. Then I'm going to adjust the zoom. I'll only do it by 15%. I think that's enough zoom to kind of emphasize the point. And one thing, why we even marked position to begin with, is a good thing is you don't want your viewers' eyes to be moving too much. So if I look here and jump back and forth between these keyframes, you'll see that my eye position does increase a little bit. So I am going to actually drop the position here. I'll do it about 25. And so if I go back and forth, you'll see that while I do have a little bit of head motion, I want to keep that there. But in general, my eye levels are pretty close. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, and I'll click on this little curve icon to pop this up. I want to make sure that I am selected for all of my zooms. Oh, not all, just the zooms. Come on. There we go. And then I'll click on this point, and just like before, I'll add the tail to the right on this one and the tail to the left on this one to give that nice curve shape. So
here we are. So here we are.
And now we get that nice smooth zoom.
So here we are.
So something else that I think that would be nice to add is in this clip here.
Right, we are writing a script, filming, and editing all in just a few hours.
I just listed out 3 things. I think it would be good to have supporting text slide out and even add an audio whoosh sound as it kind of happens to kind of emphasize it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just come to the effects library, and I'm going to grab this title, and I'm gonna grab this basic title, which is just text. So I'm gonna line this up where I need it to be.
We are writing a script.
So right here is where I start to say writing a script. So I'm gonna grab in one text block and pull this in into video 2. I know we have 3 things, so I'm just gonna add in more text as we go.
Writing a script, film.
We have another one right here as I start to say filming, so I'll drag that here.
And editing.
Then right here is when I start to say editing, so I'm gonna pull this in as well, and I will add it into video 4.
Editing, all in just a few hours.
And so then I don't want these to stay on screen forever. So right at this clip is a good spot. So I'm just going to shorten all of these texts to end at the same time. So I'm going to change this to writing a script. And I'm going to go over to settings, and I want to change the position of these. So it's rather than changing the zoom, I'm actually going to change the font size. So I'll switch this to 72, which is a pretty good size. So now I can come in here and adjust the positions here. And on this background color, white is a little bit difficult to read. So I will most likely find a different color font. So I'm just going to select black, so it's a lot more readable. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So writing a script, filming, and I'll switch this over to black. And I'm going to try to left align these, and I'm just going to do it visually. It doesn't have to be spot on. It just has to be close enough, and we should be good. Awesome. So now I have the text coming out here. So if we play this.
We are writing a script, filming, and editing, all in just a few hours.
So that looks great and all, but I want it to be a little bit animated. I want it to slide out from the left, or slide out from the right to the left, and then I want it to slide from the left to the right when I want it to disappear. So to do that, I'm actually going to come to this cut workflow and click on transitions on the top left. And then slide is what I want to happen. So I'm just going to click on the slide effect and drag it onto all of my text. I'm actually going to drag it in the beginning and the end. So now it looks something like this. Then I'm actually going to come back to the edit workflow, and then I'm going to click and highlight one of these. So this is going to slide from the left to the right. I want to switch this from the right to the left. And the best part is these endings, the animations at the end automatically default to left to right. So we should be good. So now let's click play and see how this looks.
We are writing a script, filming, and editing, all in just a few hours.
Now we have all that sliding effect added. One thing that I would like is to have almost some type of sound effect to emphasize that slide. I grabbed some free sound effects online, which I'll have a link in the video description. And I'm actually going to grab the whoosh because I think that's going to be a good one. And I'm going to add that down into audio too. So I should be able to clear everything. And now let's see how that sounds.
That's right. We are writing a script. Right. We are writing a script.
So see how that's off? The animation appears too slow. So I'm going to actually click on this animation, and it looks like, just judging by the size, I'm going to have to cut the animation in half. So this is currently, the duration is 30 frames or 1 second. So I'm actually going to drop this. So you just have to play around with the animation and keep it all the same. So it looks like 7 frames on everything is what is matching up my audio design. So now I just need to fix the timing of everything, put it back to kind of it was originally.
We are writing a script, filming.
Cool, so now I just have to copy and paste the audio right there. So now we could see how this looks and sounds.
We are writing a script, filming, and editing, all in just a few hours.
And there you have it. I will probably spend the next 45 to 60 minutes wrapping up all the edits on this video before I'm ready to post this on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If this video helped you out, please give us a thumbs up. If you're interested in seeing more videos about content creation with tips and tricks, please hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you so much, and until next time, see ya.